Hey y'all, welcome back to the Chalk Sports Podcast, and today we will be talking about the top 30 NBA players currently, and we're going to be previewing a little bit of the Four Nations Canada versus USA finale. So let's just get right into it. We're going to start with the Four Nations because it's tonight at 8 p.m. And there's some things to pay attention in this one because it's going to be a good game. I'm not super informed on hockey yet. I will start to focus on it more in the playoffs. But I got 3 players to watch, and then we're going to move on. So I got Sidney Crosby for Canada. He's 37, but it doesn't matter. He's always efficient. He's always good. He consistently is in the loop. It's crazy his longevity. Another one is both of the Tkachuk brothers. When healthy, they are one of the better combos in NHL because they're brothers. They got that brotherly connection. They just go pass, pass, pass. And they scored 2 goals each in the first game they played. Yeah, 2 goals each in the Finland game. That's what we're looking to see tonight. Hopefully they can do it. Even though USA is banged up, I have seen some injury reports. I have seen that they're flying in other dudes to take over. I think Tage Thompson came in, who's a really good player on Buffalo, but he didn't make it originally, so we'll have to see how that unfolds. And, I mean, that's all I really got for that. It'll be exciting. Tune in at 8 p.m. on ESPN. Let's do it now. We're going to talk about the top 30 NBA players right now in the NBA. So we're going to be grading based off of, like, current and future potential. And, like, schematic fit and stuff like that. I kind of merge them all together. Injuries play a big factor in how I rank people, too. So we'll start at number 30. I have Jaren Jackson. He is so underrated, I feel like. And he needs to be talked about more. He is a 6'9" center that can shoot 35% from 3 he can shoot 35% from 3 while being able to be a DPOY and get so many blocks. And that's what you need right now. It is the perfect mix of threat without being too much. He doesn't get called for fouls a lot. He's very good. He's also 25, and he fits that offense perfectly because he can squeeze in. He's on the Grizzlies, so it can be Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Gigi Jackson, Jaren, and then Zach Edey. So he can do whatever he wants. He can go up, get blocks. He can change the shot so Edey can block it. Edey can change the shot so then he can chase down and block it. He can go out from 3, giving them spacing, because Edey is the downside to Edey is he doesn't bring a lot of spacing. But he kind of fills out that team where it's like they drafted him in 20. I don't know. He got drafted 6 seasons ago, so he's 19 coming in out of Michigan State. And he's just been a huge factor in why they've been consistently up there. I will honorably mention Tyrese Maxey because he got beat out. He barely got beat out, but he got beat out. He wasn't. I couldn't put him above Jaren because of what his situation is right now. And I just like Jaren. I think Jaren's way better than Tyrese Maxey. I think Tyrese Maxey is just in a spot where he gets to put up a bunch of shots, a bunch of points. He gets to be the offense. Alright, continuing on. At 29, we have Tyrese Halliburton. And it's weird. It's really weird to put him low because when he's doing good, he's a top 20 player. When he's like in his mode. But he kind of has these random slumps. And he's starting to look like he's getting in one now. And he's below 20 points right now. and below 9 assists, but it's not his fault because he kind of does what he has to for the situation. So I did factor that in, because if I didn't, he would be out of the list. But I am factoring in that his situation is very set up for him to just make plays while being able to be self-sufficient, even if they don't have Tyree, even if they don't have Halliburton making plays. It doesn't matter. They will find a way to score. They'll find a way to get to the basket. They'll find a way to shoot a three. They'll make it work without Tyrese, which is why he's sitting at 29 and not 28, because at 28 we have Trae Young. And I think Trae Young is one of the best players in the NBA. 28 is really good, by the way. Like, the top 30 has been very talented lately. The NBA is having a huge influx of talent right now. And it's showing kind of on these lists, because it's like, putting Trae Young at 28 feels criminal. Because I love Trae Young. I think he plays amazing. But I also went through and realized, hey, there's 28 other players that are better than him. So he is the villain for the Knicks. We all know that. That's what's kind of lovable about him, is he is the enemy of New York, and they embrace it, and he embraces it more than they do. So he's kind of having an off season, which is weird to say. But he's still putting up 20 a night and 11.4 assists per game, which is the most we've seen in a hot minute. And putting up 20 a night and dropping 10 assists is crazy for having an off season. That's his off season right now. And he's still so young. He's only getting better as time goes on. He's 26 right now. He's got 20. His 28, that'll be about his prime. His defense needs a lot of work. That's why he's low, because he's kind of a cone on defense. But on offense, he is just such a threat. He's one of the more talented players I've seen right now, and he kind of facilitates that offense perfectly. He is the encapsulation of the Hawks offense. Take him out of the Hawks offense, and he is nothing. And they are not. He might be something, but they are nothing. Continuing, we got Damian Lillard at 27. And it's Dame getting his revenge right now. He averages 25 on 62.4% from true shooting. And that is some efficiency. When people were calling him washed, I was kind of calling him washed too. I didn't agree with the Bucks move. I thought it was kind of cheap. I didn't really like it. But now look at it now. It's kind of paying off. And he's fitting what they want in a player. They want somebody who can score points and run the offense with Giannis while giving him spacing. Because Giannis needs spacing. Giannis is not a spacer. He cannot really shoot. But that's why Brook Lopez is on the team. And that's why Dame is on the team. And that's why Aaron Jackson Jr. is on the... I think that's his name. Aaron Jackson Jr. Something like that. Aaron Johnson Jr. They have the right guys around them. And they're starting to heat up. They're kind of inconsistent, though. They're pretty messy overall as a team. It's kind of just Dame and Giannis and then a bunch of other guys. They've just got Kuzma, which is a huge addition for a pick, I think, in Chris Middleton. But Chris Middleton was kind of falling off to begin with. You kind of really missed 2016 Chris Middleton. So Dame works in the system. But I don't think I could put him any higher, because I feel like he's still old and he's not much of a future. At 37, I think at 37, I don't know, he's... At 34, oof, my bad, bud. He's really good, but he's not breaking the ceiling. Like, he is the difference maker for your team. Like, everybody ahead of him, I think, can be that solo player you can build around for a few years, or already is that solo player. But continuing on, at 26, we have Cade Cunningham. And I love Cade Cunningham recently. He is probably one of the better basketball Obviously, he's one of the best basketball players in the NBA. But I think he's hit another leap. I think he's taking a huge superstar leap right now. He is the Ferrari in the low-class neighborhood because the Pistons are not good. But he's still putting up 24, 8, and 6. And I know those stats kind of sound lackluster, but that's also considering that he needs spacing, and he doesn't get that there. The Pistons are still not that great, but he's doing what it takes to win, and that's what you need in a point guard like Cade Cunningham, where you drafted him. But he's also 23. So not only does he have what it takes to win, and he does win, he also is still got another 10, 15 years on him. That's a long time. And for a player like that, he probably only has 10. He is less than 15 because he plays more physically, and his athleticism is the reason he has success. But even if you take that away, he's still a talented player. He can still shoot the ball a little bit. He's probably one of the better finishers in the NBA right now. And he turned the Pistons into a playoff team. That alone deserves a Purple Heart. Because he stayed with them and never complained, really, during the worst era of Pistons basketball in history. Continuing with 25, we have LaMelo Ball. And he is the definition of a top 30 NBA player with the green light to do whatever he wants. Because he's shooting more shots than Michael Jordan did in his prime. And he's shooting more threes than Evan Mobley shoots shots. Like field goals, anything on the court. Little mid-rangers, 2-pointers, 3-pointers. He shoots more than him this entire season just off his 3-ball. He's dropping 28.2 a game, which, again, is not surprising. Considering the green light he has. But he fits that offense perfectly. And now I am concerned he's building a bad habit that won't be able to help him when he gets on a better team. But I still think he could fix that. And the Hornets are just a mess right now. Absolute just dumpster fire. It's terrible in Charlotte right now. But they did just beat the Lakers. This Luka, LeBron Lakers, they just beat. They're not a playoff team at all. But they are a fun, frisky team. It's like the Raptors. They're not playoff teams. They're not contenders. But they're kind of just, there to have fun. The players are there to have fun because they know they're not on a good team. They're playing for contracts and for hopefully a signing or somebody to be interested so they can go to a franchise where they can win. At 24, we have Kyrie Irving. And it's really hard to rank Kyrie. I'm not going to lie. He is a great player. But he's also kind of old and he's very injury prone. He gets injured a lot. And now with the situation just going straight downhill, it's tough. It's really tough. But he is the most skilled player of all time. So age is not really worry because he can do whatever. He does need his athleticism at times. But he's the most, again, I'll say it till the dead. The most skilled player in the NBA is Kyrie Irving. And he shows it a lot. He does make that impact that players normally can't make. He is the difference sometimes. And that's what you need in a player like Kyrie, where, hey, we're down 2. Get us a bucket. And he does some left-handed hook. Or he drives in with a triple cross, tweeny, step back, hezzy, snatch dribble. And he breaks your ankles, and then he's wide open from 3. It's stuff like that where it's you see this player, and you're like, he can make the difference. This Luka trade does not look as bad. because he can make the difference. Right now, this Luka trade doesn't look bad at all. At 23, we're continuing on because that's we might talk about that at the end. But we're going to talk about Evan Mobley because he is flying up the rankings for me right now. He just broke top 25, and he is the biggest impact on defense. He is the Chet Holmgren, but with more experience. Like, he is Chet Holmgren with one more season. And not having Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and a bunch of people who he doesn't need to step to that level for. The only problem with Evan Mobley's fit. He's a really hard player to fit into a team. He needs to have a complete team because he can't do a lot on his own. But he also can't have too little spacing because he can't really shoot. And he can't have another defending big because he's offensively weak. He can't offensively score. He can, but it's weaker than other players. And that's why Cleveland is such a weird team right now, because they kind of fixed a lot of problems, but they still have them with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland and all these players that fit well together, kind of sometimes, though. Because sometimes they don't, and that's where it gets messy. That's what we saw last playoffs, where it's like they're struggling to beat a young Magic team who are just happy to be there. Continuing at 22, we have J-Dub, Jalen Williams, and what a weird player right now. He is 6'6" and is playing center. He plays center consistently and well until Chet Holmgren came back. Then he stopped. But he can play every position on the court. He can play from point guard to center. That is unseen. And he plays a good center. He plays a good point guard, a great shooting guard, an even better small forward, and a great power forward. He's great at every position, and it's so weird. And his upside is just so high. Like, you kind of saw it when he was starting, like, when he was a starting center, where it's like, this kid's 22, 23, 23, and he can play center, he can play point guard, he can play shooting guard, he can play small forward, and do it all well. You don't see that ever. Draymond Green is the only player I can think of off the dome who does that at a kind of equal level. And he can't play shooting guard, and he can't play point guard. But he can play. He's very flexible. I give him credit. He is very flexible. But he's 6'9", I think. I'm pretty sure he's 6'9". But it doesn't matter. It's J-Dub. And he's 23 with the potential of, I don't even know. There's not a, old player you can compare him to, because he's so new. He's got Hall of Fame potential, but he's, so new, you've never seen it before. It's not like a player you can, it's like the Travis Hunter of the NBA right now. You can't really compare him to anything, because you've never seen it, because no one ever tried it. No one ever tried putting a 6'6" guy as center, since the tallest center was 6'6". At 21, we have Franz Wagner. And yes, I know he got hurt. He's been a little banged up, but he's still consistently great. He came back in March. Or not March, sorry. He came back in January and has been a huge impact for the Magic, because of what he can do. When Paolo got hurt, he could solo carry that team. But when Franz got hurt and Paolo came back, they looked weaker. And Paolo came back from a harder injury, yes. And it's kind of just the gameplay, because Franz is great at solo star ball. He doesn't need a star to play. He can play without spacing. He can play with spacing. This isn't a shot at Paolo, but he can play ISO ball, hey, let me get this guy. He's a mismatch on defense. He can do that better than Paolo can, because Paolo is let me get to the post, let me do some great lay or fader, but you kind of need Cole Anthony to pass it to you, or you need Franz to make some space and pass it out. And because he can shoot, but he's also 22. But we're not talking about Paolo. We're talking about Franz. And at 23, Franz is one of the better offensive skill sets. Drive to the paint and just tough light up. Physically beat you. And then when you get tired, or when he gets tired, and you start dropping back to predict the layup, he'll shoot a 3. And he'll shoot it. Make it sometimes because it's Magic and they're the worst shooting team of all time. But he takes advantage of defenses that won't beat him physicality wise. He'll drop his shoulder, and if you don't beat him to it, he will make sure you know that he beat you physically. Continuing on at 20, we have Domantas Sabonis. And I got a hot take for y'all. Domantas Sabonis is the Wilt Chamberlain of the modern NBA. He had 77 double-doubles last season and outpaced Luka and Jokic for triple-doubles. He consistently scores 20 and 14, and his defense lacks and his shooting ability lacks. That literally was Wilt Chamberlain, just with crazier numbers because he played easier competition. That's kind of what I'm seeing. And his paint defense is weak, which is pretty important, but it also is more of that it's hard to fit people around him. He's a hard player to put into any team, and he just works. No, you need people who can shoot middies. DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine. You need 3-point shooters. You need good defenders. You need backup defenders. You need all these pieces that just specific role players, because he'll get you any rebound. He's the quintessential star role player. He has a role that he plays to the highest level, to a star level, but he can't do other roles. He can't be the defensive big. He can't be the shooting big. He has to be the rebound big, the guy who can get you 20 rebounds when you need it. And that's what Wilt was. Wilt was never a defensive player. He wasn't known for it, at least. And he wasn't known for shooting. No, he fit the I'll get you a rebound. Make sure you do something with it. And I'll get the assist or whatever. And he'll do it to a consistent level. Continuing on. This one's a weird one. I might make some people mad. I got an AD at 19. Because AD has kind of disappointed me. He has made me very frustrated in the fact that he went to the Mavs and then got hurt in a single game, and he's potentially out for the season. That is the most annoying thing AD does, is he is always hurt. Give me healthy AD, and he's number 8. That's the difference in it, is I think healthy AD is one of the best players in the world right now. But an unhealthy AD is worthless, and he is way more worthless than being the best player in the world. And I can't in goodwill put AD at 8 while he also is injured constantly. If he wasn't injured right now, or a day after the trade, or first game as a Mav, he would be 8. He would be rated really high, because I thought he got over his injury problems, and now he's right back at them. Continuing on, at 18 we got Devin Booker. And D-Book's in a slump right now. Let's be straight. D-Book's in a slump. But he's also one of the best players in the league. When he is playing good, he can put up 71. I'm bored. Let's drop 71. He can put up points. But he also is, when you're in a shooting slump and your team's kind of a mess, he can't really fit around and make a role for himself because the Suns suck. KD is literally holding on that team. D-Book is playing his worst season since his rookie year. And it's kind of been the falling apart where it's hey, they can't do a lot right now because they're in a very messy position. Continuing on, though, we got De'Aaron Fox at 17. And this is a little high, but I'm very high on De'Aaron Fox because of what he just put himself in. The situation he's in where he's with a 7'6" Frenchman who can shoot, dunk while on his tiptoes and block every shot that goes up. And De'Aaron Fox is the fast guy who can get it out to the big man, or he can shoot, or he can lay it up, or he can play perfect perimeter defense. He can do what Wemby needs, which is a talented point guard, while having the Chris Paul for the experience, mentorship, and just leadership. Chris Paul's the veteran. De'Aaron Fox is the piece to put them over the edge, and Wemby's the best player on the team. And when you put all that together, you get a great Spurs team. They do need some improvement. I don't like Vassell. I think he could move, and I think they could do some like rebuilding, a little bit more bench depth would be kind of clutch. But overall, right now, I just think that was one of the best trades you could have done. De'Aaron Fox wanted out of Sacramento. The Spurs didn't wait. They took advantage of that, and they got a player who could be the reason they win some games this season, make the playoffs, and maybe make a run. Continuing on, though, we got number 16. We got Ja Morant. And I know, it's kind of a bounce back season, and his injury concerns are really weird. I know I knocked AD a lot for this one, but I'm not going to knock Ja as much. Because when Ja isn't healthy, his situation still works. Because he makes an impact. He made an impact, and then, yeah, he gets hurt sometimes, but they can self-sustain. But when he's on the court, man, he is different. He still has shooting struggles, I think. But he also is just an offensive freak. He can lead an offense through fear. Fear of, hey, this guy's cutting the basket. We need to close on that now, or somebody's going to die. Like, that's what you almost fear as a person. You're watching, and you're like, Ja Morant's cutting the basket. No, please, no, no, no. And he probably will dunk on you or he'll lay up on you. Like, he'll make it worse, or he'll pass it out. And now you're getting beat from three because Jaren Jackson Jr. is standing there at the top of the key. Stuff like that. It's like, oh, yeah, this player is an impact player. He is the difference. Continue on, though. We got LeBron James at 15. I know. People are going to be mad. People love to glaze LeBron. I don't think LeBron deserves to be super, super high. Because right now, he's kind of showing his age. Which is really weird to say because it's LeBron. He's showing like 32. Where he's kind of just now starting to fall out of his prime. His body's starting to give up on him. And I feel like his box stats and box score stats and stuff like that are kind of lying to you. He isn't as much of an impact player as he was before. He's kind of fallen off that impact player difference, and he doesn't make a huge difference now for his team. His defense is lackluster, to say the least. His shooting is getting decent, but it's not consistent enough to be the only thing you can rely on. And it's getting harder and harder every day to rely on his layups because it involves cutting to the basket. And when you're getting to the age where it's harder to move fast and quickly like that and be able to jump as high and consistently do what you need to be a slashing player, it kind of shows like, hey, this LeBron's not as great as he was. Kind of falling off. But not in like a bad way. Like his legacy isn't affected. It's just he's not gonna be a GOAT because he didn't break the record. He didn't get more titles. He kind of just he's kind of hit. It's kind of sad to see because he kind of hit the end. Where it's like, hey, he only has like 3 more years left at 22 seasons in. He Probably has 3 more left, and that's a weird thing to say. It's really weird. But it's true. It's just kind of how it is. Continuing on, though, we got Jaylen Brown. And he's a weird one, too. But I think he is the definition of what the Celtics need right now. And if you take him away from the Celtics, I think he'd have a hard time being the one-man player. Like, the one guy who can do it all. But I think he's good at getting to the basket. And he makes them consistently. He's like 82% within 3 feet of the rim, which is crazy good for a guard. Or like he's more of a forward. But his 3 points aren't amazing. Nothing to like stalk it. But I think he needs some improvement to be top 10. And I also think I need to see him like actually carry a team. Be that impact player. Because they just have Tatum right now. They have Tatum. They have KCP. They have all these players where it's like they're all top 200 players. Drew Holiday. They're all like the big difference makers. They're all the big difference makers when it comes down to it. And that's what... He's really well built for the situation. Not really a future. He doesn't have that like talent to be able to solo. If everybody on the Celtics were to leave and they swapped with the Lakers roster, besides for Luka and LeBron, he would kind of be cooked because he wouldn't be able to fit well around these solo players, and he can't single-handedly put up 29 a night and be the impact. Continuing on, though, we got Paolo Banchero at 13, and I'm a bit high. I'm a bit biased, but I think at 22 and the situation he's in right now, if they can make some 3-point shooters, they'd be top 10 teams. Like he'd shoot up. Everybody would kind of shoot up a little bit because the Magic can't make threes right now. That's why they're struggling. They're 30% from 3, which is literally the worst since the Charlotte Bobcats. That went 7 and 68 or something like that. But that's what kind of Paolo feels is like. Sorry, I'm miswording. Paolo's impact is on, hey, I can put up points, but I need some help. But his defense is amazing. He is worth the 1 pick. He's proving to be worth a number 1 pick because the upside alone is number 1 in the league. He is the most upside in the NBA right now, where it's like, given a few years to develop, he would be one of the best players in the NBA. At 12, we have Donovan Mitchell. And it's a weird one. He's a tough player to rank too because he's just the glue of the Cavs. He's very talented at being the Cavs' star player. He is one of the more inconsistent players when it comes down to it. But he can go nuclear. He can drop 71 on a playoff night because he just did. But he could also have like 8 points against the Celtics. Or like something where it's like you can't really do a lot. He's kind of just getting locked down. And that's more of like, that's where the Cavs roster comes in. Because if he doesn't go nuclear and he kind of just goes or has a bad game, they can pick up the slack for him. And that's why that Cavs team is so well built. Because they can kind of just fill what they need. Like Donovan Mitchell needs reliancy that, hey, I can have a bad game and have people pick it up for me. Because that's kind of what you need as a star like Donovan Mitchell, where it's kind of all it relies on is being efficient, putting up points, like stuff like that. And when he goes nuclear, they take advantage. But if he doesn't, then they pick up the slack. And that's why he's the glue. He is the perfect mix of, I can get the ball out, we can make it all work. And without Donovan Mitchell, the Cavs would be nothing. They would fall apart pretty quickly. But without the Cavs, Donovan Mitchell would fall apart pretty quickly. That's the decider. Continuing at 11, we have Cat. And offensively, Karl-Anthony Towns is an NBA team's wet dream. Like, he is so talented offensively, but he's also one of the weakest defenders as a 7-foot or 6'11" defender. He's one of the worst defenders in the NBA because he cannot do a lot on defense. He is the minute he comes onto a court, his interior defense goes straight down the toilet. But offensively, the Knicks could not work without him. When he comes off the court, they struggle a lot, and it shows when you have somebody like Cat where it's like, hey, he can shoot a three, he can get to the basket, he'll put points on you. What do you do? Like, how can you allow that? Wow, I don't know how to word it. The Timberwolves have shown the impact of when Cat left. They're struggling offensively. They look weak offensively. With Cat, they never had that problem. With Cat, they didn't really have any problems. But they got a little aggressive and traded Cat. And it showed. It kind of shows what a mistake that was. And speaking of the Timberwolves, at 11 we have Anthony Edwards. Or at 10 we have Anthony Edwards. And who doesn't love this man? If you watch Starting 5, you know what I'm talking about. He is such a cool dude. And at 23, his only flaw was fixed. He had shooting problems. Now he's shooting 41.9% from 3 on 9.8 shots a game. That is flamethrower levels. Like, that is unseen, unheard of since prime Curry. And he can also break his own hand by dunking. So he's one of the stronger guards in the NBA. He's one of the most athletic guys who can also now shoot a 3-ball, which he didn't have before, but now he does. That's what you like to see. That's what you need to see from a 23-year-old guard. Development. And he's developed, all right. Like, it's there. It's very much present then. Hey, this guy's starting to actually become a league-wide threat. Continuing, though, we got Jalen Brunson at number 9. And he's such a weird player. Another weird player to rank. As we get higher, they start to be less weird. But he shoots 40.3% from the field, 3. But he also is, like, weirdly good at defense. He fits so well with the Knicks. He kind of is Knicks culture in general. He seems like he would seem like a New York fan. If he was a New York fan, he'd fit so well with the New Yorkers. He's just an offensive machine. He works so well with Cat in that way where it's like, offensively, hey, we need a basket. How can I get it to Cat, or can I lay up? Like, give myself 2 options and pick the best one. That's what he's kind of good at, and that's why he's so good for a 6'2" guy. Like, he's not tall by any means or NBA standards, and he's kind of getting old. I think he's 28 or something, but he fits with the Knicks, and that's all that really matters right now in the modern NBA. I'd argue every player is better than everybody in the 60s, everybody in the 70s, most people in the 80s, most people in the 90s, and 2000s is like the breaking point of when NBA players just got talented. Because the bench warmers are better than some of the old, like, players that kind of fit around, like, I don't know. I think they're more skilled, like a Horace Grant. I think is very skilled for his time period. But I also think, like, Marcus Williams, the center for the Hornets, could beat him in a 1v1 or outperform him in an NBA game because he's more talented now because of technology and advancements. That's why, like, Jalen Brunson is literally Isaiah Thomas. Or not Isaiah Thomas. Yeah, Isaiah Thomas. Pistons Isaiah Thomas. The Pistons one. The bad boy Piston one. he's just kind of better than that bad boy Isaiah Thomas because he does what he needs. He is Isaiah Thomas 2.0 reincarnated, just with the modern day technology. So, continuing from that little ramble, at 8, we have Steph Curry. And it's so hard to put him somewhere because he's starting to get old and it's starting to show, but he's also still a great three-point shooter. And his situation is kind of messy, so I don't know how to judge if he's actually struggling or if it's just the situation is so bad with all the talks and all the locker room messes, and he's getting old and he's missing the talent around him now. Just got Jimmy, which was a big impact. Jimmy was the big impact, but he's just a difference maker. He can put up 30 a night sometimes, and he struggled really early this season. He had a huge struggle. Now he's back to kind of average, kind of inconsistent though. But I still think you can't put him below 8 because it's Steph Curry. He's still going to hit 40% of his threes. And that's kind of what you need in the NBA right now. And that's why he fits at 8. At number 7, though, we got his former teammate. We got KD. And KD, I think, is another weird one. But I think I like KD a lot right now. He's in a really bad spot, like D-Book. But he's kind of the brightest spot on that Suns team. And he fits really well at 7 because he can do anything. He is the Carmelo Anthony just taller, lankier, and way more skillful. Because Carmelo could score anywhere on the court, like mid-range, 3-point, layup line, doesn't matter. He had weak defense though, and he was kind of small. KD is 7 foot while being able to block your shots, while being able to hit a midi, while being able to lay up on you, while being able to put a 3 on you, while being able to pass the ball, dribble the ball, doing whatever it takes to score and have success as a team, and it just works. He averages 27 at 36. His future is not bright, but is right now, he probably has 2-3 more years of doing this, averaging 27. Then he starts to hit the age problem, and he starts to fall a little bit, but right now he's one of the better players he's the best over 30 player, over 35 or 30. I don't know how old Jokic is. I think he's 29. So yeah, he's the best over 30 player in the NBA. And that's saying something, but that's my personal opinion on it. Up to you guys. Sound off in the comments. Let me know what you think. At 6, though, we have Jason Tatum. And man, oh man, is Jason Tatum such an interesting player. He is a great two-way player. I will hate on Jason Tatum, but I also have to give him his flowers. He averages 27 with 8 rebounds a game, and his scoring ability is very impressive. But he's the most complete player in the NBA right now because and the second most complete player, or third most. I think there's 4 most. Sorry. He's right where he needs to be at 6. He is the 6th. He is very complete. Where his defense is better than a lot of players. His offense is one of the better players, one of the best in the NBA. And he's just that impact player. He's that piece that builds the Celtics. He won the championship for a reason. He's not a joke. He's legitimately good. And I will hate on him. And hate and hate and hate. But he's at 26, he's still improving. And he's been an MVP candidate. That's how good he's been. And the difference it kind of made is hey, Tatum is good. Keep an eye out. Continuing at 5, we have Wembanyama. And I know I'm a bit overhyping him, but it's Wembanyama, and I think he is so good at what he does. He is 7'6". He can shoot the 3 ball. He can hit a midi, hit a lay, block your shots. It don't matter. At 20, he is putting 24 points a game, 11 rebounds, and 3.8 blocks. Dikembe Mutombo, rest in peace, was the only other player who could block that much. LeBron, that young, was the only player who could do that offensively. And Dennis Rodman's the only player I think off the dome who could rebound like that. That's like, it's just insane that a 7'6" guy, and he's flexible, and he can ISO you. So you have a 7'6" guy who can solo ISO you, take you out of an offense, take you out of a defense, and take you on one-on-one and beat you, no matter how tall you are, no matter how fast you are, while being flexible to where if he rolls his ankle, he'll be fine because he stretches for that. I've seen some of the freakiest stretches he does. He like crawls with his toes or something like that. I don't know, but it just is to build the flexibility of, hey, if I fall wrong or hit something weird, I don't get hurt. That's kind of what you want. But he's a top 5 player right now in terms of like impact and the difference he makes. At number 4, though. Wait, sorry, one more on Wemby. Wembanyama has the highest potential in the NBA, though. Paulo's 2, Wemby's 1, and it's not a question. He could be, he's like GOAT level potential. He could be number 1 if he continues on this course where it's like he's getting so much better with 2 seasons. And Chris Paul is a huge like guy to keep around him, along with De'Aaron Fox. Chris Paul could literally just kind of retire and get hired as like a guy to be in the locker room, a guy to play with them, a guy to practice with them, but not play on the court, and just so he doesn't fill a roster spot. And that would be perfect because Wembanyama, that's what Wembanyama needs. Wembanyama needs a guy just to be the leader, a leader at it. All right, continuing though, at number 4 we got Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Giannis remains being one of the most dominant forces in the NBA. The only reason he's not higher is because of his shooting struggles. He's not complete. He's very good at what he does, defense and getting to the basket. But when you're complete, then you get to break to top 3. But he's not complete. In my eyes, it just doesn't work that way. And him and Dame are literally the reason the Bucks are having any success. So I will give him all his credit. He is playing insane. He is an MVP, a perennial MVP, by the way, while being a dominant player. It's just crazy to see, like, hey, this guy can put up 31 and 12 rebounds and just be that freak of nature that he is. His game doesn't work in the long term, which does suck. It's not like Luka and Jokic. It's more of a Shea, where it's like you can't do that your entire life because it won't work. It'll eventually get expired because your athleticism won't be what it was. But for right now, what it is, it's big. It's a huge impact. Continuing though, at number 3 we have Luka Doncic. And he's a generational talent. What team would ever trade Luka Doncic? But in all seriousness, he averages 27 points, 8 rebounds, 7.5 assists, and he's just able to be complete. He can control the game. His defense is a little weak, but he's complete in the way that his defense doesn't have to be great. He can be like 6'6", 6'7", and just make the difference that you need as a player, where, hey, you can't take him in the post. You kind of got to take him straight on, and he'll play decent defense. It won't be great. It won't be, like, game-changing, but it'll be good enough to where you don't have to worry about him on defense. And then on offense, he takes over. He'll drop 73 on freaking anybody. It's insanity what he can do, because he's just and it works too for now and for the future because of how his playstyle is. It's not quick, athletic based, dunking on people. No, it's slow, pushing you to play at his pace and changing the pace as he goes. Because he'll take it down, dribble, take you quick cut, and then slow it down, cut back maybe. Then you're moving all over the place and you're going full the pace before. And as you do, like maybe he tries to go for a steal. Boom. Ball game. Because you got cooked. Because then you end up in a fast pace, and he's in the slow pace right now, and he'll beat you in a slow pace. But continuing on, at number 2 we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA. And he has surpassed stardom at this point. He is an MVP candidate, and he averages 32.5 a game on 6.1 assists. He has like 350 bombs this season. He has been what you need, and he's defensively top 10, offensively top 2 or top 3. And he is so well-rounded. He is the most well-rounded player in the NBA. And it's not close. It's probably him, and then Wemby, and then Tatum. And that's what you need, is like a well-rounded Shai that is probably going to win the MVP this year. Which is huge for the OKC Thunder, who need that kind of player that can be that impact. Because they're very well built, and that's why they're the best team in the league. But it's all built around Shai. And the Lakers had Shai, by the way. They traded, or the Clippers had Shai. No, the Clippers had Shai. They traded him away. Bad looks. But, I mean, he's so good, though. He's just a talented player that kind of fits what OKC needs. And they have so many picks in the future. So as he develops, he gets a cycle of talent where it's like, if they can't pay a guy, that's fine. Next draft pick. If the draft pick hits, boom, complete the cycle already. And they just cycle it back through. They can't pay a contract, drafted, great. They can't pay that contract, draft, great, boom. And now Shai has a cycle of great players. But it would be disrespectful not to put Nikola Jokic at number 1, and it's not debatable. He is the best player in the NBA without a doubt right now, and he can do it for another 10 years because his play style doesn't need his athleticism. He's not athletic, really. We haven't seen it yet. He might be athletic, but we really don't see it ever because he doesn't need to be. He does what he needs to, and it works. He can be that, hey, triple-double. He's a triple-double GOAT. Like, last year he averaged a triple-double, 29, 12, and 10. And won MVP. He's a 4-time MVP in the last 5. And the 1 year he missed it was total BS. It was the Embiid year. That's how good Jokic is. His IQ, his efficiency, and his offensive game plan is so good. But the reason he's not the most complete is simply just because his defense is weak. His defense is weak. It's not bad. It's just kind of like there. It's not great by any means. And it shows sometimes. There's some moments where you're like, he's not that good. But his contribution at scoring, rebounding, and just making plays is unparalleled. I've never seen it before, and I don't think I ever will see it again. He's shooting up my all-time rankings. He's broke the top 30. I don't know really where to put him, but he's definitely a top 5 center in my eyes. Because he's so perfect. Besides, his defense is weak, but it doesn't matter when his offense is so well built. He just has like this sixth sense of like, if you ever watch like Kuriko's basketball, and you know the guy with the pink hair, that is what Jokic is, just bigger. Yeah, just bigger and weaker defense. Because he kind of just knows where everyone... He can just literally think about it, see everybody on the court, and know exactly where to pass it to. And I play basketball. That is not something you just are given. It is a talent beyond belief there are times where my coach will yell at me. He's like, "Hey, where you looking? There's a guy open behind you." And I'll be like, "I didn't know he was even there." And Jokic would know. He would just have that sixth sense of, "Hey, there's someone behind me. Defense is all right. Boom, 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 boom. Nobody's behind. He's behind me. No one's on defense. Chug it behind his back. Boom, wide open three." Stuff like that where it's like, you don't ever see that. All right. I ain't got any more for you guys. Keep watching the videos. Like, subscribe, share, get it out to everybody. Send it to your mom, send it to your dad, send it to somebody. Make sure to tune into the shorts. I've been kind of merging my content. I'm doing podcast and editing stuff because the podcast doesn't produce enough clips to fulfill a week of shorts. So I kind of fitted in editing while practicing my editing. Along with that, we are potentially getting a new person to join me on the podcast as a permanent second man. Next week is the NBA preview. Or MLB preview. I don't know who I'm going to be doing it with. There's two, the new guy or my father, because I'm pretty weak in baseball, but I can talk ball. Thank you all for watching. Tune in next week. It'll probably be around Thursday, maybe Wednesday. We'll see. Thanks for watching, and just peace.